Hi, I'm Elena from Vizrt and we're outside BBC Elstree, where my colleagues from Vizrt, the BBC team, along with the tracking company Mo-Sys and the data provider Idonix, are working on the setup for the broadcasting of the EU referendum. Let's go inside and see what actually happens behind your TV screens. Hi guys! Hello. Andrzej, you want to join us this set?
Sure.
Great.
Jeremy, happy?
We need to focus on the first yes count. Results have started coming in more quickly.
So here we are at the EU referendum set. Behind me you can see where the main program is recorded, and on the right you can see the green screen where Jeremy Vine does his magic. Although this looks like a permanent set, it is actually temporary, which means we have a very limited time to make the whole setup. And this creates a lot of challenges, which means Vizrt needs to work really closely with the BBC in order to make this happen. In order for the virtual studio to be created, we need to track the position from these pedestals. These cameras here are tracked by a company called Mo-Sys. They provide the tracking information. Besides the two pedestals here, we also have a crane that is tracked. And besides that, we also have two projectors, one projecting the same map as you see on screen on the floor, and also a projector for the wall. This helps Jeremy Vine understand where he is in the virtual space. But how does it all come together?
The data is going from this tracking systems into the tracking hub. In the tracking hub we collect all the data and send it to the engines. The reason is that we need much more accurate control over the delays, and with the tracking hub we can delay every axis separate. One more reason for using the tracking hub is that the GUI is much more intuitive, so we have much more overview of the cameras and the tracking systems.
The Vizrt software is being used for the whole show, rendering the graphics of the lower thirds, full forms, the tally, and the virtual studio as an example. These are being updated with data all throughout the night.
We saw how the data will be represented, but how does this data get from the people to Viz? Russell will answer that.
Vizrt project managed the VR calibration, making sure that all the cameras are set up and that everything is ready to go so that when on the night they can start broadcasting. But an important part of the show is actually the data that gets into the render engines. So here I am with Pete from Idonix, where we're going to ask about how the data gets in. So Pete, how does the data get from a person voting in the street to the Viz render engines?
Okay, well the first thing is I have to put a cross in the right box.
Yeah.
Following that, the guys that run the result systems, they're taking feeds from a number of sources. So from the Press Association, from the Electoral Commission, who are obviously the official guardians of the true and correct vote.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, where we have OBs, we have journalists at the OB, because those are time critical. So we need to get the results through as quickly as we can. So given all of that, the result systems then send data through to an API on the Ignition system, whereby we then process that and then use it as a source for our graphics.
And how does that get sent through actually to the render engine?
Okay, well it depends on which graphics we're talking about. Things like the tally and the flashes or the lower thirds, a lot of those are automated. So as the results come through in real time, they'll appear on the screen. For full forms, and particularly for Vine as well, obviously there's interaction. So there's a producer stacking graphics and playing them out.
And what's the interface that they use?
They use a system called Ignition. So Ignition is a graphics automation system that we have where we can build custom workflows and interfaces for each election. So our role is to make the job as fluid and as easy as possible for the producers running the graphics.
And we're seeing it's very close in some areas.
There you have it, a temporary set with limited time frame, and Vizrt connecting different teams to bring the data and present it. All teams working with one aim, to deliver a smooth and error-free live program of the EU referendum to the public.